Namaste dear friends, and welcome back as we come to a close to the course on advanced level of spoken Sanskrit. We've looked at quite a few things in this process, but one thing that we've been looking at consistently in all our lessons have been the definitions of dharma, and trying to not just look at the grammatical aspect of the advanced level of spoken Sanskrit, but also look at the content of the ideals that informed the civilization. So what I thought we could do today is to do a recap of at least all the verses that we've looked at around dharma and all the qualities and their definitions, etc., so that it is available for you in one particular repository and you can benefit from the practices that have been prescribed therein. Astu tari priya mitrani, namaste and hardika swagatam asmin antime varge yatra vayam dharma vishaye charcham kritavanta asmakam भिन्न भिन्न कक्षासु अत्र आशा अस्ति अथवा इच्छा अस्ति यत् वयं तेषां सर्वेषाम् अपि एकपूर्णं समीक्षणं कुर्मः, येन सर्वम् अपि एकत्र यदि भवति तर्हि युष्माकम् अपि तत्र तेषाम् उपयोगाय सहजता भविष्यति. तर्हि एतदुक्त्वा वयम् अग्रे पश्यामः. So let's look at this course summary on the verses of dharma, and this is going to be lecture 26, dharma vishaye pathita shlokanam punah mरणम. So a revision of the shlokas on dharma, and we'll have one more session next which will be on the revision of the grammatical components, and that will be the last lecture, lecture number 27. So dear friends, we are going to be looking at the shlokas that we've studied on dharma, and then I'll introduce you to a meter, to the chandas. We have been using it quite a lot, but we've not really ever examined the chandas. I'd mentioned it earlier on, so I'm hoping to give you just an initiation into the chandas, and then the Anushtup chanda in particular, and then we'll also end with a quote on the importance of Sanskrit. So this is the general definition of dharma that we've been looking at. Tari militva vadama kshama satyam dama shaucham danamindriya sanyamaha ahimsa guru shushrusha tirthanusaranam daya arjavam lobha shunyatvam deva brahmana pujanam anabhyasuya cha tatha dharma samanya uchyate iti etat lakshanam विष्णु पुराणे अस्ति वाचस्पत्ये च मिलति. अग्रे पश्यामः. प्रत्येक शब्दस्य तत्र विवेचनम् अस्माभिः पूर्वमेव कृतं वर्तते, बट एते भिन्न भिन्न तत्र गुणाः सन्ति. अस्तु, एकवारं जस्ट गुणानां नामानि पठामि. तर्हि क्षमा, सत्यं, दमः, शौचं, दानम्, इन्द्रियसंयमः. अत्र पीयूषस्य साहाय्येन वयं प्रत्येकशब्दस्य कः प्रत्ययः, यदि तत्र समस्तपदमस्ति, किं समस्तपदमस्ति इत्यपि वयम् अवगन्तुं प्रयत्नं कृतवन्तः. We've tried to get the samastapadas, the compound word formations, as well as the suffixes that have been added to the words here. Astu, and then ahimsa asti, guru shushrusha, tirthanusaranam, daya arjavam, lobha shunyatvam, deva brahmana pujanam, anabhyasuya. So even practicing one of them is very demanding. So we are required to practice all of that if we want to call ourselves a dharmic person. Tari vritta parichayaha. Atra padyam chatushpadi taccha vrittam jatiriti dvidha. Vrittam akshara sankhyatam jatir matra krita bhavet. Astu. So Sushama, it's a commentary, it says padyam chatushpadi, 4 quarters, ekasmin padya chatvaraha, 4 in 1, padaha bhavanti, taccha chatushpat. Samanvitam padyam. Okay, that's the 4-quartered padyam. Vrittam vrittabhidam jatihi. Okay, so that's vritta is also another word for chandas. So it says jati namakam iti dvidha dvividham bhavati. 2 kinds of verses you can have. Tatrapi vrittam akshara sankhyatam. So it can either be based on the number of letters. Varga ganana parimitam bhavati. Jatihi matra krita. So jati is based on the matras or the meters. Krita matra ganana parimita bhavati. It's according to the numbers there. Tathoktam vritta manjaryam, in another text, aksharair ganana yatra tad vrittim iti kathyate matrabhir ganana yatra sa jatir abhidhiyate. The same thing in another form. Matra vicharaha ekamatro bhaved hrasvo, and there has to be a r there, hrasvo, dvimatro dirgha uchyate, trimatrastu plutojneyo vyanjananchardha matrakam, and the vyanjana, the ardha matrakam, etc. नमस्ते पीयूष।
प्रणामः आर्ये।
अस्तु, तर्हि अस्माभिः इदानीमेव किञ्चित् छन्दः विषये प्रस्तावना कृता अस्ति। अस्तु, परिचयः किञ्चित् कारितः अस्ति, कारणं बहु उपयोगः कृतः वर्तते धर्मश्लोकसन्दर्भे। अस्तु, तर्हि इदानीम् अत्र अनुष्टुप् छन्दसः लक्षणम् अस्ति। तत्र ते वदन्ति श्लोके षष्ठं गुरुर्ज्ञेयं सर्वदा लघुपञ्चकं द्विचतुष्पादयोर्ह्रस्वं सप्तमं दीर्घमन्ययोः। तर्हि अनुष्टुप् छन्दसः किं लक्षणमस्ति एकवारं भवान् अत्र दर्शयति किं कथं जानीमः? तर्हि भागं कुरु अष्ट अक्षराणाम्। एवम् आम्, द्वितीयपाद आम्, तृतीयपाद अस्तु अस्तु। श्लोके षष्ठं गुरुर्ज्ञेयः, तर्हि किं भविष्यति?
1 2 3 4 5 6।
अस्तु, सर्वदा लघुपञ्चकं। तर्हि श्लोके षष्ठं, प्रत्येकस्मिन् पादे षष्ठः भवति न? सर्वदा लघुपञ्चकं,
पञ्चकं पञ्चमतमं, तत्तु
लघु यु भवति। द्विचतुष्पादयोर्ह्रस्वं सप्तमं
द्वि, एतत् 1 2 3 4 सत्यं। द्वि सप्तकं किं भवेत्?
ह्रस्वं दीर्घम् अन्ययोः
प्रथमे तृतीये च दीर्घम्।
अस्तु, तर्हि एतं श्लोकमेव दृष्ट्वा पश्यामः यदि तथा भवति वा। श्लोके, तर्हि श्ल यदा युक्ताक्षरं भवति तदा दीर्घम् इति मन्यते। श्लोके दीर्घं षष्ठं, तर्हि तदस्ति दीर्घं ह्रस्वं गुरु लघु गुरुर्ज्ञेय। सत्यं गु ह्रस्व अस्ति गूर्। बट् गु पञ्चमम् अस्ति। लिखतु
1 2 3 4 5 6।
बट् पञ्चममपि ह्रस्वम् अस्ति।
तत्तु गु।
सत्यम्। ज्ञेयं, तत्र ज्ञे अपि दीर्घं भवति।
एतदपि दीर्घं भवति।
ज्ञेयं सर्वदा लघु, तर्हि सर्वदा लघु, पञ्चमं लघु अस्ति। लघु
दीर्घ
लघु पुनरपि सत्यं। द्विचतुष्पाद द पुनरपि सत्यं। पञ्चमं ह्रस्व अस्ति। ह्रस्वं दीर्घ,
एतत्
दीर्घ अस्ति। स्वं सप्तमं दीर्घ, घ ह्रस्वम् अस्ति।
एतत् दीर्घमस्ति।
पञ्चमं अनन्तरं ह्रस्वं भवति। यकार, कारणं मन् भवति चेत् मन् इति तत्र दीर्घं भवति, यकार तत्र ह्रस्व भवति। अस्तु, उदाहरणम् इदानीं भवन्तः अपि मिलित्वा प्रयत्नं कुर्वन्तु। अस्तु, क्व सूर्यप्रभ, तर्हि ह्रस्व प्रभ ह्रस्व प्रथमं, वो दीर्घ, वं दीर्घ, शः क्व चाल्प क्व चाल्प विष ह्रस्व, या दीर्घ, मतिः म ह्रस्व, तितीर्षुर् दस्तरं ह्रस्व दीर्घ, मोहात् दीर्घ, उडुपेन दीर्घ ह्रस्व, नगरम्, उडुपेन अस्मि, उडुपेनास्मि, सागरं, न तु नगरं, सागरम् इति। अस्तु, तर्हि स्पष्टमस्ति एतत्। तर्हि समानश्लोकस्य बहुविध अध्ययनं कर्तुं शक्यते इत्येव अत्र दर्शनमस्ति। अस्तु पीयूष,
प्रणामः।
धन्यवादः। अस्तु, तर्हि आशां करोमि यत् अनुष्टुप् छन्दसः विषये किञ्चित् वा ज्ञानं जातमस्ति इदानीम्। अग्रे पश्यामः, अत्र बहूनि छन्दांसि दत्तानि सन्ति। So we've got a lot of names of different chandas that have been taken from the content page of a book, Chando Manjari, and you can see so many varieties of chandas that if you want to know more you can find out. All these chandas are nothing but different permutations and combinations of guru, laghu, guru, etc. Itopi kechana atra santi. Astu. So let's go back to the qualities related to dharma. Kshama vishaye asmabhi drishtam asti. तर्हि बाह्ये चाध्यात्मिके चैव दुःखे चोत्पादिते क्वचित् न कुप्यति न वा हन्ति सा क्षमा परिकीर्तिता। Satyam. Satyasya vishay kim asti? So let's look at the 13 forms of Satyam that are there. Satyancha samata chaiva damaschaiva na samshayah amatsaryam kshama chaiva hristitiksha na suyata tyago dhyanam atharyatvam dhritischa satatam asti. There's a dot there. Daya ahimsa chaiva rajendra satyakarastrayodasha. Mahabharate rajadharme vartate tat. तर्हि अत्र त्रयोदश गुणाः सन्ति ये सत्येन सह युक्ताः सन्ति. Definition of Satyam that we've seen earlier. I'll just quickly skim over this so that we can at least have an idea of all the different qualities but in one place. So Damaha, tasya kim lakshanam asti? Kutsitat karmano vipra yaccha chitta nivaranam sa kirtito damaha prajnyahi samastatvadarshibihi. Okay, so it's a person who's able to restrain the mind from bad works. Iti. Shaucham. Shaucham kim asti? Etadapi bahu sundaram asit. Shauchantu dvividham proktam bahyabhyantaram. Bahyam abhyantaram tatha mridjalabhyam smritam bahyam bhavashuddhir athantaram. Tatra kim asti? Bahyam abhyantaram. Two kinds of cleanlinesses. Okay, one is the external physical and the other is internal of thoughts, etc. Danam. Danam kim asit? Danasya lakshanam yatha arthanam uchite patre shraddhaya pratipadanam danantu kathitam tajnyair bhukti mukti phalapradam. Okay, so according to the Garuda Purana, it says that giving wealth, material things to a worthy recipient with sincerity and dedication is said to be a danam by the knowers of truth, which can result in devotion and liberation for the giver. Bahu prakaraka danani आसन सात्विकदानं यथा अत्र लिखितं वर्तते. पुनः राजसं दानं किम् अस्ति इति, तदनन्तरं तामसं दानं किं भवति. तर्हि अहं जस्ट् एतत् दर्शयामि, भवन्तः स्वकाले पठितुं शक्नुवन्ति. इन्द्रियसंयमः. इन्द्रियसंयमः कः? जनरल डेफिनेशन ऑफ इन्द्रियसंयमः इन्द्रियाणां संयमः इति इन्द्रियसंयमः. षष्ठी तत्पुरुषसमासः. इदानीं भवन्तः सर्वमपि अवगच्छन्ति इदानीं. तर्हि इन्द्रियम् इत्युक्ते किम्? इन्द्रियेण ईश्वरेण सृष्टम् इति इन्द्रियम्. 14 इन्द्रियाणि सन्ति, यथा ज्ञानेन्द्रियाणि, कर्मेन्द्रियाणि, अन्तःकरणेन्द्रियाणि. मनस्तावद् इन्द्रियाणां नियामकम्. So it's a control of all these different kinds of indriyas. So you've got 5 jnana and then 5 karma and then the antahkaranani. Tari indriyanam sanyamaha that we've seen. And atra there's another sutra from the Yoga Sutra where it says that what is sanyamaha? Because indriya sanyama, we understood what indriya was, put sanyama and then we try to bring them together. So it says indriya sanyamaha ityukte kim? Indriya sanyamaha ityukte indriyanam pratyaharaha athava uta indriyanam vashyata. So the ability to withdraw one's senses from the sense objects is an important aspect of indriya sanyamaha. So indriya jaya is another paryaya vachanam, or it's another synonym. So control over, winning over the senses and their attachments, etc. Ahimsa. Ahimsa kim asit? Bahu ruchiram asit because it says vang manaha kayai parapida bhave prani pida nivrittau ashastriya prani pidana bhavecha ahimsa paramo dharma iti smritihi. So non-hurting of others through speech, thoughts and action. Abstaining from hurting other creatures, absence of hurting creatures in ways not subscribed by the Shastras. Kim asti tatra? Bhinna bhinna arthaha dattaha santi. But mukhyataya atra eta jnatavyam yat ahimsa himsayah viparita asti. Himsa, how many types of himsas are there? According to this list, there are about 81 permutations and combinations of himsa that arise often from a lobha, krodha and moha. Okay, so lobha is greed, krodha anger and moha is delusion. So these are some of the reasons why we can engage in violence, but there are many more also in that. Guru Shushusha tat kim asti? So Guru Shushusha is about Gurunam Shushusha, Guru Shushusha iti Shashti Tatpurusha Samasaha. Service to the Guru is Guru Shushusha. Astu. And then there are other definitions of it. So Shushusha, you see there is the Sananta that we had first come across as a pratyaya, and that's here, if you can see, that's where. Astu. And Shushusha means desirous to hear the words of the Guru largely. Astu. And it's also synonymous with the concept of Guru Seva. And there's a lot of emphasis within the Indian tradition of serving the masters well, the true masters, serve them well, and it was very rewarding, and also it's a way of reducing one's own ego. That if who are the different kinds of gurus? So father as a guru, mother as a guru, relatives as gurus, and then you've got the other, the Jnana Guru also is there. And then we've got Guru Shushusha, the advice for Guru Shushusha, what all should you do in order to serve the master well. And then the 5 most important gurus in one's life. So Tatra you had the mother, the father, the Jeshta Bhrata, Bharta, the husband, as well as the teacher. These were all the gurus that we had to remember. Tirthanusaranam. So what was Tirthanusaranam? Tirthanam Anusaranam iti Tirthanusaranam Shashti Tatpurusha Samasaha. So going to pilgrim places. So what are they? 3 types largely: Sthavaram, sacred places; Jangamam, that is like water purifying or like purifying words; Manasam, mental virtuous qualities. So mental pilgrimages also are possible. So Manasa Tirtha Lakshanam. So this is just a beautiful way of describing what a mental Tirtha, visiting of a pilgrimage, would imply. Who benefits? So whoever goes there is necessarily benefited because of the purity of intention more than anything else, and the sanctity of the place. Daya kimasi tatra? Daya means karuna or kripa. Karuna is Daya Swarupa or Anukroshaha, Anukampa. Okay, and these are some definitions there. And Dayayaha Lakshanam as a practice kimasti? Atmavat Sarva Bhuteshu Yo Hitaya Shubhaya Cha Vartate Satatam Hrishtaha Kriya Hyesha Daya Smrita. So one who looks at the whole world as oneself and oneself in the whole world. For such a person, what is Hrishtaha Kriya Hyesha Daya Smrita. So this person has a certain sense of peace and calm and has got well-being. Arjavam. Arjavam from Riju, straightforwardness. Rijo Bhava Arjavam, the idea of being straightforward, frank, honest. Okay. So you can look at the definitions a bit. And then Arjavam, a further elaboration on it. You see what fantastic qualities are listed beside Arjavam. And then Lobha Shunyatvam. Lobha Shunyatvam kim asti? Lobhasya Shunyatvam. Lobha Shunyatvam. Shashti Tatpurusha Samasaha. The absence of the Shunyata of greed or Lobha. Lobha is formed by the Pratyaya Ghai, masculine, Lobha, plus the Akanksha. There is Paradravya-bhilasha. These are the opposites of it. So some other definitions of Lobha there. And then we've got more. Trividham narakasyedam dwaram nashanam atmanaha kamaha krodas tatha lobhas tasmat etat trayam tyajet. So you see the kama, krodha are coming in quite a lot. And then we've got Deva Brahmana Pujanam. So the Deva Brahmana Pujanam is Devascha Brahmanascha Deva Brahmanau. So you remember this is with samasa? Dvandva samasa, uttamam. Itaretara dvandva samasaha. Tayoho pujanam shashti tatpurusha samasaha. Okay. And it says definition of a Brahmana viprasya prajapaterva apatyam brahma vedastam adhite va saha. Brahman plus an, brahmanaha. That's how the word is formed. And then paryaya shabdaha of pujanam, puja, pujarha, pujitavyaha. Many words that are there. And then namaskara. These are all very special. Specially they have been described how they have to be performed. Again on namaskara. And then yajna. We've talked about yajna in great detail in the previous class. So it talks about this offering that has to be made to the gods. And if you can offer to the gods in the midst of any activities, then the gods will fulfill whatever is required to you for the best of your being. So Bhagavad Gita, Satvikaha, Rajasika, Tamasikascha, Yajnaha. We've looked at this as well. And then understanding the concept of Pancha Yajnaha from Manusmriti. And then Anabhyasuya. So that's Anabhyasuya, Na Abhyasuya, Anabhyasuya, Nai Tatpurusha Samasaha. Astu. And then it goes on, Dharma Vishaye. Okay, so what is Dharma Nirupanam? So we've got these 10 definitions, sort of definitions and practical application of Dharma. So यदा कदापि एतत् उद्घाट्य कृपया एतत् सर्वं ज्ञातुं प्रयत्नं कुर्वन्तु. These are really worth investigating because each word, I have skimmed over them, but every word is so important in that definition of dharma. And you find similar words appearing across the different definitions as well. So let's come back to the whole definition of dharma once and read it all together. Kshama satyam dama shaucham danamindriya sanyamaha ahimsa guru shushrusha tirthanusaranam daya arjavam lobha shunyatvam deva brahmana pujanam anabhyasuya cha tatha dharma samanya uchyate iti. And this is another one by the Matsya Purana. It says adrohaschapyalobhascha damo bhuta daya tapaha brahmacharyam tatah sattvam anukroshaha kshamadhriti sanatanasya dharmasya moolam etad durasadam. And similarly you've got few other definitions from, this is from the Brihaspati Puranam, and then you've got Manusmriti on it, and then Vidya daya dama shaucham satyam aste yata tapaha jitendriyatvam akrodho lajja dharma iti smritihi. So this is Brahma Vaivarta Puranam. Other ones from the Brahmanda Puranam also. And then we've got the Mahabharata Shloka. So Sanga karmam tapaschaiva satyam akrodha evacha sveshu dareshu santoshaha shaucham vidyanasuyati atmajnanam titikshacha dharma sadharano nripaha. So a lot of emphasis on the fact that if you are content in yourself, you will not covet another person's goods or another person's wife or another person's anything. So satyam dama shaucham santoshaha shantirarjavam jnanam kshamo daya danam esha dharma sanatanaha uttamam. So I can see that you're trying to, the Garuda Purana is seeing how we can implement it really. And then the Vishnu Dharmottara Purana says tasya dwarani yajanam tapodanam dayakshama brahmacharyam tatha satyam tirthanusaranam shubham. So you see a lot of resonances. Swadhyaya seva sadhunam sahavasaha surarchanam gurunam chaiva sushrusha brahmananancha pujanam. Moving on to the definition in the Vahni Puranam, tatra kim vadanti esha dharmo mahans tyago danam bhuta daya tatha brahmacharyam sada satyam anukrosho dhriti kshama sanatanasya dharmasya moolametat samasataha. Okay, so these are the qualities of the Sanatana Dharma. Astu. So coming to the last quotation here. So what does Raghuvira Mohodaya say about Sanskrit? So he says, in the India of the future, the study of Sanskrit will be compulsory in schools and colleges. Our languages are like the granddaughters of Sanskrit. Sanskrit is their life breath. They cannot grow without Sanskrit. Those who have been thinking in terms of scientific studies, they would be happy that Sanskrit is the great fountain from which all our terms of science and higher thought shall ooze and bubble forth perennially, never failing or dying up, ever fresh and invigorating by their sweetness and transparency. So some references here. Astu mitrani tari aham asham karomi yat adyatana patham drishtva athava shrutva dharma vishe itopi jnatum ichha bhavishyati punaha tasya anukaranartham api prerana labdha syat iti. So dear friends, I sincerely hope that you have enjoyed today's session of the collection of all the different shlokas on dharma. If you have any doubts, Piyush is there, that's part of his PhD work, so please feel free to ask any time that you can, and we try our best to try and reply to them. But the most important thing is that these values are not just meant to be talked about, but experimentally implemented as an observer. Try something out, see what happens. If it works, well and good. If it doesn't work, why did it not work? Iti etadrisham yadi bhavanam manasi nidhaya yadi adhyanam kurvanti tari tataha bahu saphalam bhavishyati iti. Astu, so this is a very different definition of success, where you're able to look at a quality and say, yeah, I know about it because I have walked that path. Tari asham kurma yat sanskritena sanskaranam api atmanah sanskaranam api samakale chalishyati iti. Ityeva muktva atra viramami. Mahan santoshah. Namaskara.